This is Eyewitness News on LA56 with live breaking news.
Breaking news, pedestrian struck in Boyle Heights. This is Eyewitness News on LA56. I'm Ellen Leyba.
I'm Mark Brown. David and Colleen are off tonight. Bill Thomas is live over the scene in Air 7 HD with the breaking details. Bill.
Mark, this is the 400 block of St. Louis Street at Cesar Chavez in Boyle Heights. An eyewitness here in the neighborhood tonight tells us that just after 6 p.m., the elderly driver of that red pickup truck in the middle of your screen with the front end damage, an eyewitness tells us that the driver of that truck hit two pedestrians just off to your right. After that, ran into this water tank, which is sitting on the right shoulder on the sidewalk of St. Louis right at Cesar Chavez. That eyewitness tells us that the driver tried to leave, but other pedestrians in the neighborhood stood in front of that truck, making that driver wait until LAPD officers arrived. Unclear if that driver's been taken into custody. The two pedestrians who were hit, they've already been treated by LA City firefighters. Reporting live from Air 7 HD, I'm Bill Thomas, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you, Bill. Doctors at Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center explain how 7 patients were infected with a potentially deadly superbug during surgery. So far, 2 people have died. Eyewitness News health specialist Denise Dodor has the latest on the outbreak.
We're very sorry about some of the anxiety and concern that the situation has posed for our patients as well as our community.
At the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center, condolences offered to the families of 2 patients who died after getting infected with a drug-resistant superbug known as CRE.
When something like this happens, it really just gets us in our guts.
Hospital officials say 179 people may have been exposed. They identified 5 other people who got infected. The attorney of one of these patients tells us his client is clinging to life.
He was very unfortunately close to death. Imagine being in the ICU for months and months.
Doctors were first alerted in mid-December when a patient came down with a potentially deadly infection after undergoing an ERCP procedure. These devices, known as duodenoscopes, are uniquely angled to make it possible for doctors to access the pancreas and other parts of the body that are difficult to reach. The UCLA health system shut down ERCP procedures for 9 days and initiated new sterilization techniques that exceed the FDA guidelines.
And indeed, now they are going beyond those recommendations to perform the gas sterilization as well.
The FDA did issue a new warning to doctors, letting them know that the complex design of these devices may make it difficult to clean efficiently. The adjustable mechanism may contain microscopic crevices where bacteria can hide.
I think what we've done here at UCLA has changed the discussion already nationally around these particular scopes.
Health officials reassure us this is not a public health threat. CRE is not easily transmissible, but it does remind us about the issue of antibiotic resistance. There have been no new cases since January 28th, and officials hope this is the end of the outbreak. In Westwood, Denise Dodor, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Robbery and a home in San Marino ended with a dog shot and the robber on the loose. Nanny returned to the home on Winston Avenue this morning and was confronted in the garage by the intruder. She ran inside, locked herself in a room, got in the closet, and called 911. Police said the man ransacked the home, stole a Mercedes from the garage, and fled. Car was later found, but not the robber. As officers searched the neighborhood, they entered another backyard where a large dog charged them. Officers shot the dog. It was taken to the vet, is reportedly in good condition. We'll have a full report ahead at 7:30. And a major break in the case of a Las Vegas woman gunned down after an apparent road rage incident. Police have arrested a suspect. The victim's husband screaming at reporters after he tried to confront the man police say killed his wife. Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda has the emotional video.
The suspect was arrested this afternoon. Las Vegas police tweeted out this photo as he was taken away from the scene. The suspect's mother showed up saying she was on the phone with her son. It all started when SWAT swarmed the home, which is about a block from where the shooting occurred.
I'm not really scared of the neighbor. He doesn't really come off as scary to me. He's a little guy. He's like 5 foot and maybe 95 pounds.
Police initially said 44-year-old Tammy Myers was killed by an angry driver who followed her home. The story changed, and it appears Myers was not followed home. Police say she actually picked up her 22-year-old son, armed with his 9mm handgun, to try to confront the driver who had frightened her earlier. Myers' husband showed up at the crime scene, and he was stopped by police and told he couldn't go near the area. As he left, he screamed at reporters.
Are you all happy? You made my wife look like an animal and my son. There's the animal a block away.
Police wouldn't give out details about today's arrest.
We will provide you more information at a later time. but we do not want to jeopardize where we're at in the criminal investigation at this time.
And Meyer's husband held a news conference this afternoon saying he and his wife knew the suspect, but because of the investigation, he couldn't talk about it.
We knew how bad he was, but we didn't know he was this bad, that he's gotten to this point, and his friends. But this kid, the animal my wife was going to search, my wife spent countless hours at that park consoling this boy. And he's probably watching this right now, and I know he's got to feel bad.
Police this afternoon said that they believe Nosh is the only shooter, but there is another suspect, and they are searching for that person now. Reporting from the newsroom, I'm Carlos Granda, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
New information tonight about last year's deadly rampage in Isla Vista and about Elliot Roger, the man who carried it out. According to a Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department report, Roger spent a year planning the massacre, searching online for how to kill silently with a knife. 3 of the 6 UCSB students he killed were stabbed to death. Slash marks on the sheet and pillows in his apartment suggest he had practiced stabbing. The report also finds he spent more than $2,000 on guns and ammunition and other weapons. The rampage ended when Roger shot and killed himself. A parole hearing today for one-time Manson family follower Robert Beausoleil has been postponed. Beausoleil is 67 years old now and has been behind bars for 45 years. He's been denied parole 17 times. No reason given for today's postponement. Beausoleil was originally scheduled to death or sentenced to death for the 1969 murder of musician Gary Hinman. However, his sentence was commuted to life when the state Supreme Court ruled the death penalty unconstitutional in 1972.
Former rap mogul Suge Knight is back in jail after a short trip to the hospital for an undisclosed medical condition. He was taken by ambulance from the courthouse where he was scheduled to be arraigned on a criminal threats charge related to an incident with a paparazzi photographer. This stems from a September case in which Knight and comedian Cat Williams reportedly stole the photographer's camera. The photographer, who was in court today, says she is looking forward to seeing justice served for herself and for Terry Carter, the man Knight is accused of running over and killing in Compton.
I'm just here to stand up to violence and intimidation and threats, and I'm here for the Carter family. They don't know me, I haven't met them, but I have their back.
Knight is scheduled back in court on the criminal threats charge April 8th.
President Obama once again talking today about how the United States and the world should deal with terror groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. The White House is hosting a 3-day summit on the issue. This morning, the president announced the United States is forming a communications hub with religious leaders to counter terror propaganda. He's also warning against labeling ISIS and Al-Qaeda as Islamic extremists.
These terrorists are desperate for legitimacy. And all of us have a responsibility to refute the notion that groups like ISIL somehow represent Islam, because that is a falsehood that embraces the terrorist narrative.
The president's critics argue he can't stop the terrorists when he won't use the phrase Islamic extremists. The summit wraps up tomorrow.
I know, let's check in with Jonathan Novak because we are looking forward to the Oscars, only a couple days away now.
That's right, only a few days away, and what we've seen is what, guys? A cooling trend of sorts, but also the clouds have been thickening up. This is actually a shot from Angeles National Forest from earlier today, showing some high clouds, but temperatures today were cool, I would say, relative to last week. We had 80s all week. This week has been relatively cloudy and temperatures down around 70 degrees or so. Tonight we're comfortable, 60 degrees in LA, 60 in Fullerton, 62 Van Nuys, and 76 Santa Clarita. What happens as we go through the weekend? Let me show you here, give you an idea of what we're looking ahead to, because we've been discussing that chance of rain for of all days. The Oscars on Sunday. Well, right now, we still have high pressure that's very weak over us, and as we go into the next 24 hours, we'll see very similar conditions to what you had today. Going into the weekend, things do shake up a bit, and the rain chance is in that forecast. I will tell you how likely and how much rain to expect coming up in that full 7-day.
As the Oscar countdown hits 3 days, the pace is picking up and the red carpet is getting more crowded.
But nothing can keep our entertainment gurus from reporting on all things Oscar. George Pinocchio joins us live from outside the Dolby Theater with more on Oscar's progress. Hi, George.
Hi, Ellen. Hi, Mark. Do you hear it? Yeah. Neither do I. We've got a moment of relative quiet here on the red carpet of the 87th Annual Oscars. As we take a look around here right now, you know, you trust me, this is the calm before tomorrow's media storm, when this place will suddenly be overpopulated with people from all over the world coming to Hollywood to cover the Oscars. But that still won't stop the work that still needs to be done.
That's the 1 foot they added.
Crews continue getting the work done on Oscars red carpets. This place is in a state of perpetual motion, and that's just on the outside. The Academy's Tenny Meladonian tells us what's going on inside.
We've got so much happening today. The stage looks incredible. It's stunning, it's amazing, it's bright, and it's beautiful. We had Gwyneth come in today, we have Scarlett coming in later, and it's really exciting. So a lot happening.
In the middle of all this red carpet activity, about 100 publicists showed up, getting the drill on what they'll be doing come Sunday.
They volunteer their time on Sunday to help the Academy Awards, to help our team, and they guide all of our nominees, our performers, and they support our team in making sure everything runs smoothly. So we thank them.
Of course, all of this adds up to a television spectacle for people all around the world.
I come from St. Louis, camped out on the street for 10 days one time down at the shrine to do this.
And 18 years later, you're still here.
Still doing it. I'm getting tired. The wife can't walk as good as she used to, and neither can I, but we really enjoy it.
Elmer and his wife and their friends are all holed up in a Hollywood hotel where they will enjoy all the Oscar week proceedings and watch the Oscars together on Sunday. But if you want to check things out here, you might want to come a little fast because right now they're starting to put up some of the protection from all the looky-loos that will be coming to the red carpet. So there's still one side of the street that's just fine to look, but, you know, they have to make this place look picture perfect, and sometimes it takes blocking out a little of the activity. Live in Hollywood, George Pinocchio, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, George, thank you. And some lucky Eyewitness News viewers will be able to watch the Oscars on a brand new 55-inch Samsung Smart 4K Ultra High-Def Curved television worth $1,500 each. We teamed up with Video and Audio Center. We're giving away one every day this week. Deadline to enter the drawing has passed, unfortunately, but you need to make sure you tune into Eyewitness News at 11 tonight and tomorrow night to see if you won.
All right, up next, some shocking video coming from a school.
Counselor is seen body slamming a female teacher to the ground. What he is now saying about the incident. Plus this.
2012 is really bad year.
The ex-girlfriend of race car driver Kurt Busch says he assaulted her. Now she's giving a very emotional interview.
And a dog is trapped in a doghouse and left on a local road. Who discovered him and how a local group is trying to help the Shepherd Chow mix recover. Friendly game of basketball turned ugly and violent when a man body slammed a woman to the ground. This was at a K-8 school in Florida. Two students were playing with teacher Catherine Martin and school counselor Travis Mims. Police say Mims had been getting increasingly aggressive and finally lifted Martin almost over his head and slammed her onto the court.
He just turns her over and drops her on the floor from probably 5-6 feet in the air. So she hit real hard.
Do you feel sorry about what you did?
Yes.
What do you have to say to her?
I'm sorry.
Police say Martin suffered serious injuries. They did not specify what they were. Mims was arrested for aggravated battery. He has been also told not to return to the school.
Whitney Houston's daughter, Bobby Christina, has undergone surgery to have a breathing tube replaced with a tracheotomy tube. That's according to a person close to the family who is not authorized to speak about her condition. Bobby Christina has been on a ventilator since being found unconscious in a bathtub at her home in Georgia at the end of January. Meanwhile, Nick Gordon, who has been identified as her husband, though her father Bobby Brown disputes that, has asked her family to allow him to visit her in the hospital.
Now to an ABC News exclusive. NASCAR superstar Kurt Busch is preparing for this weekend's Daytona 500, the Super Bowl of racing. His ex-girlfriend breaking her silence to Good Morning America. Allegations of violent outbursts, her restraining order against him. His legal team fighting back tonight. And here's ABC's Steve Osunsami.
Patricia Driscoll says that her ex-boyfriend, NASCAR champion Kurt Busch, assaulted her inside his motorhome at a speedway in Delaware.
He popped up out of bed and grabbed me by the throat with one hand, and with the other hand he grabbed my face. And he smashed my head into the wall 3 times.
In an interview with GMA's Michael Strahan, she claims there was one previous incident, something he denies. After arguing the issue in family court, a Delaware judge this week found a preponderance of evidence that Busch has committed an act or repeated acts of domestic violence. For the next year, he's ordered to stay away from her and get a mental health evaluation, quote, for problems related to anger control and impulse control. He's scheduled to race in Daytona this weekend, and Driscoll has something to say about it.
Why not take that as an opportunity to say no more, like the NFL has, and say we are not going to accept domestic violence in our sport?
Tonight, Busch is appealing the order, and his lawyers tell a different story, that he was trying to end the relationship and that there was no assault.
This is all an orchestrated campaign to ruin the guy that decided he no longer wanted to be with her.
In a reality show Driscoll was pitching, she does know her way around a shooting range.
I really don't care if people hate me for who I am and what I do, because I'm not going to change it.
No one knows for sure what really happened behind closed doors, but how this plays out in public could have a serious impact on his racing career. Steve Osunsami, ABC News, Atlanta.
Just how cold has it been back east this winter? Cold enough to freeze Niagara Falls. Not the whole thing. Water is still flowing under and around the ice, but take a look at this. A section of the American side of the falls has frozen, and it's a pretty spectacular sight.
Sure is. Wow, incredible. Well, here we have a beautiful sight, just sunshine and...
Oh, I thought maybe.
Yeah. And Jonathan Novak.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to do this. Ready? I'm going to give you three numbers. Tell me which one you think the wind chill would be in Buffalo tonight.
Okay.
-5, 20 below, 35 below.
I'll do 20.
I'll say 35.
You'd be right, Mark.
Wow.
Oh. Wind chill warnings tonight for potentially 35 below in that area. It's unbelievable. The cold that is just plummeting through the eastern portion of this country. And you see right now it is -4 in Buffalo. Wow, just unreal. And the wind's 20 to 30. That's where you get that from. It's just making it feel like it's about, like you said, Mark, that 35 below. Didn't you say that, Ellen? You said 35 below, right? That was your guess? Good. All right, time lapse from Laguna Beach. Beautiful clouds today streaming in. We're going to have them thicken up over the next 24 hours and even more so going in through the weekend, and that's going to mean the potential for rain. We've been discussing it for the Oscars on Sunday, and we'll get to it in just a moment. Right now, we're dry. I make it up with 7000 HD, not a speck of green on that screen. And highs today were actually, while above average, on the cooler side. Last week we had about 5 or 6 days in the 80s or right around 80 at the worst or the coolest. This week has all been in the 70s, lower 70s. Today we were Santa Ana 76, 69 Lake Arrowhead. And right now at LAX we're at 58 with the clouds out. And temperatures elsewhere are pretty much following suit, where we see a mild evening because of the moisture coming in and the clouds thickening up. So we're about Fullerton 60, from Long Beach over to Riverside 60, downtown LA you're at 60. Normally you're low would be 50. So I don't think we're going to get there tonight because we've just got all this moisture coming into the area. And as we go through Sunday, it could bring some drizzle, maybe some light rain. Right now, as the pattern holds, it is high pressure, very weak high pressure that is over us. But look up to the top of your screen. You see this dip right here? I'm going to show you what's going to happen here going in through the weekend. That is a building trough of low pressure. Friday into Saturday, it really starts to dig in. You'll see this energy dive south Saturday and then into Sunday. Yesterday, the models had it stalling out far north enough. We didn't think we'd really get much in the way of rain. It's coming down just south enough. It's starting to really solidify where I think we'll get enough of an onshore flow to produce a marine layer thick enough to bring some drizzle on Sunday. Maybe some light rain. The better chances of anything really accumulating would be around the foothills with all that moisture pumping in. So, nevertheless, I think with the clouds out and some drizzle, it won't be the most beautiful Oscars you'll have ever seen weather-wise, at least. Tomorrow, more of the same, 69, right around 70 degrees. Clouds out, same on Saturday, and then Sunday, we're cooling it down to the mid-60s. Again, a little bit of drizzle, light rain possible. That lasts through Monday. Valleys, IE, right around 70 or so the next couple of days. Lower 60s on Sunday. Now, that chance of rain is best for the foothill areas, quarter of an inch maybe. Elsewhere, maybe a tenth, or I should say a hundredth of an inch possible. That's at the worst. So the beaches are going to have a chance of rain as well. The mountains, snow over 7,000 feet. Temperatures down finally into the 40s by Sunday. The high desert will keep you dry but breezy, right around 61 on Sunday. So maybe a little drizzle for the Oscars. Could be better, could be worse, guys.
Okay. We've seen it worse, definitely. Thanks a lot, Jonathan. Cool. Authorities are looking for the person who horribly mistreated a dog. The animal has wounds and scars all over its body. It was left abandoned inside a locked doghouse. Eyewitness News reporter Miriam Hernandez has the disturbing story.
In a lane of traffic where cars and people pass by, a doghouse that had been nailed shut. According to a homeless man, Willis Rollins, it sat here at 83rd and Grand for 3 days.
First of all, it's inhumane.
Rollins was here when an LAPD sergeant got curious and with rescuers uncovered this.
He was just cowering in the back. I mean, his head was down. He was pushed so far into the wall. I mean, it was almost like he was trying to run, but there was nowhere else he could go. And he just looked like a defeated dog.
He is a 3-year-old Shepherd Chow mix, a muscular 57 pounds. He resisted handlers who had to pull hard to get him out of his little refuge, but he didn't nip. He didn't even bark.
He didn't growl. He didn't do anything.
His wounds reveal a painful history. Bites, some old, some fresh, some infected.
They had to actually sedate him to shave him and clean the wounds.
His savior is Ghetto Rescue Foundation, a coalition of LAPD officers, firefighters, and animal lovers who come across so many at-risk animals.
Rollins says this block has a history with abandoned dogs. Just about 3 weeks ago, he says a pit bull was tied here to this fence.
He says some that are dumped are just bodies.
They had a Rottweiler in a basket bed 2 weeks ago. Upside down dead.
Saved from such a fate, the newly named rescuee, Walter Worthy Higgins. That middle name, one that could label many dogs like him.
Worthy of love, yes.
Ghetto Rescue says he'll need time to recover from his trauma. Once rehabilitated, he'll be looking for a home far better than the one he left. Miriam Hernandez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Up next, the local college suspends another fraternity. We'll tell you which one and why.
And ahead at 7:30, a dramatic rescue as LA fire crews pulled a dog from the raging water. Just ahead, the dog's reunion with rescuers and why firefighters put so many resources into rescuing animals. The Tau Kappa Epsilon fraternity has been suspended from Cal State Northridge for alleged hazing and sexual misconduct. A university spokesman says the suspension stems from alleged improper behavior during the fall 2013 pledge process, including a retreat at Fort Tejon. It became effective last month and extends through July of 2018. This is the third fraternity to be suspended at CSUN since the death of 19-year-old student Armando Villa. He collapsed from heat stroke and died on a fraternity-sponsored hike in October of 2013.
Federal authorities at the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach today announced the seizure of more than 730 imported items that violate federal standards. Items include all-terrain vehicles, motorcycles, and generators. They were seized during a 90-day investigation by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Items were imported without proper emission controls.
But this is really the proverbial tip of the iceberg. This sends a very strong message to all those companies that are thinking about sending engines in, sending vehicles in, that we're watching.
Some of the seized items were sent back to their country of origin.
Coming up, we are updating the evening's top stories next at 7:30.
Including new details from UCLA after an outbreak of a potentially deadly superbug.
Plus, he was shot and wounded in the line of duty. Tonight, a San Bernardino police officer is getting a helping hand on his road to recovery. Stay with us.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7:30 p.m. on LA56.
Our top story at 7:30. Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center doctors have released new information about how patients were infected with a potentially deadly superbug during surgery. I'm Mark Brown.
I'm Ellen Leva. David and Colleen are off tonight. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7:30 p.m. So far, 7 patients have been infected with the antibiotic-resistant strain of bacteria. 2 have died. Health officials say they traced the infections to 2 endoscopic devices that were contaminated with the CRE bacteria. Patients have been notified, the devices have been removed, and sterilization procedures have been upgraded. Health officials say the superbug bacteria does not pose a threat to the public.
Now for this video, there's been a major break in the case of a Las Vegas woman gunned down after an apparent road rage incident. Police have arrested a suspect who you saw there, 19-year-old Eric Nosh. The husband of the victim says his family knew the suspect and even tried to mentor him. Police say Tammy Myers was killed in a two-way shootout after Myers told her son to grab his gun and go looking for the driver who had frightened her earlier. Police believe Nosh is the only shooter, but they're still trying to locate one more suspect.
Nanny came face-to-face with a robber at a home in the 900 block of Winston Avenue in San Marino. She was not hurt. He got away, and as police searched for him, they shot a neighbor's dog that charged officers. Eyewitness News reporter Leo Starwood has more on the robbery and the dog's condition.
It must have been terrifying for the nanny. Police say when she returned to the home this morning, a burglar was inside the residence and confronted her as she walked into the garage.
He demanded property from her. She ran into the residence through the garage, locked herself into a room and then into a closet, securing herself, and called 911.
Police say the suspect then ransacked the house and stole a Mercedes SUV parked in the garage and took off. As police searched for the man, they went into a neighbor's backyard and an officer fired his weapon.
They were confronted by a large, aggressive dog. One officer, fearing for his safety, fired one round from his service weapon. That round missed. The dog continued to move towards him. Officer, again fearing for his safety, fired a second round that struck the dog.
So I heard the couple of gunshots, so I woke up and I saw the dog coming, running to me here.
Sandy Abdullah says his dog named Wheezy, pit bull boxer mix he has had for 6 years, was limping and bleeding when she came to him.
The police shot your dog. Are you upset about that? I'm not upset. It was the police that shot the dog. No. How's your dog? I just got information from the hospital and said the dog will make it.
Abdullah says police did apologize for shooting his dog. He says he knows they were just trying to arrest the bad guy and protect the community. Police say break-ins are far from the norm in this otherwise upscale San Marino neighborhood, and they want to keep it that way. We talked to residents.
It makes me very nervous. Our house was broken into a year and a half ago, and we had to put a security system in.
Police did recover the Mercedes SUV stolen by the suspect. It was abandoned on the 405 freeway in Sherman Oaks. In San Marino, Leo Starwood, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
There are new details now in that refinery explosion in Torrance. The Oil Price Information Service says the unit was already offline for unplanned maintenance when the fire happened. Industry analysts say it was down for 2 days after problems with a recently repaired component within it, and then another component exploded yesterday. 4 contractors suffered minor injuries. ExxonMobil says it's cooperating with investigators to determine exactly what caused the incident. The Auto Club is predicting that this explosion could push gas prices even higher, especially if the damage results in a long-term closure. Today, gas prices rose 2 cents from yesterday to $2.90 for a gallon of regular in LA County. It is the 20th consecutive day of increases in the price of gas. And Eyewitness News employee Armando Barragan shot this video of prices going up 10 cents a gallon at an Arco in Temple City. That happened at 1 o'clock this afternoon. When you see news happening, share it on social media with the hashtag ABC7 Eyewitness.
Man accused of killing an Inland Empire family of 4 appeared in a San Bernardino courtroom today. Chase Merritt is now acting as his own attorney. District Attorney's Office began the process of handing over pages of discovery and the names of witnesses so Merritt can prepare for his preliminary hearing. Merritt, who has congestive heart failure, also told the judge a doctor has found him healthy enough to represent himself. Merritt is accused of killing the McStay family in Fallbrook back in 2010. Their bodies were found in the desert north of Victorville more than a year ago.
The body found in Laguna Beach yesterday has now been identified as a missing swimmer, Anthony Parnell. Police say a resident spotted the body Wednesday afternoon on the rocks near Three Arch Bay. It's about half a mile south of where Parnell was last seen on February 8th. The 18-year-old was swept into the water off Thousand Steps Beach. The county coroner has identified the body as that of Parnell of Las Vegas with dental records provided by the family. An autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow to determine his exact cause of death.
And a sad day at John F. Kennedy High School in Granada Hills today. Friends mourned the death of a student who was hit and killed on his bike. He was struck by a DWP truck in the 16,200 block of San Fernando Mission Boulevard yesterday afternoon. School called in grief counselors today. 17-year-old Philomene Ragni died at the crash scene yesterday afternoon. Friends called him Philo for short. He was a member of the swim team and a senior who was just weeks away from graduating. Friends are devastated.
I loved him.
I just want to remember him by like the only person smiling, always smiling throughout the day, never was down. He just always was the happiest kid alive.
Even though Ragni was in the crosswalk, police said the truck had the green light and the right-of-way. Friends have placed a memorial at the scene.
The defense has rested its case in the murder trial of the man accused of shooting American sniper Chris Kyle and his friend. Earlier today, a forensic psychiatrist took the stand. Dr. Mitchell Dunn testified about Eddie Rauth's mental state leading up to the shooting deaths of Kyle and Chad Littlefield at a Texas shooting range in 2013. Dunn says Routh exhibited symptoms of psychosis in the weeks before the killings. The doctor's testimony supports the defense's claim of insanity. Prosecutors argue Routh knew right from wrong at the time of the shootings. Routh himself did not testify. Now to the Aaron Hernandez murder trial. 3 state troopers testified about evidence they collected, including a digital scale with a dish that included marijuana residue. It was found in a safe in the closet of Hernandez's master bedroom. Troopers also recovered 4 pairs of Air Jordan shoes. Prosecutors have said a footprint by an Air Jordan sneaker was found at the murder scene. Hernandez's lawyers have tried to poke holes in the state's case by going after how police handled the evidence.
A San Bernardino police officer is speaking out after being shot in the line of duty. Officer Gabe Garcia was nearly killed in a gun battle with a suspect back in August. Eyewitness News Inland Empire reporter Leticia Juarez looks at his miraculous road to recovery.
Each step San Bernardino police officer Gabriel Garcia takes is a hard-won victory.
I'm doing good.
Last August, Garcia was shot in the head after encountering a group of men during a patrol call. The ensuing gun battle left one suspect dead and Garcia fighting for his life. That was 6 months ago.
Unbelievable, is it? Unbelievable. That's all I can say about his recovery. It's unbelievable.
Part of Garcia's recovery includes reconnecting with familiar places. That's where dozens of volunteers with the San Bernardino Police Officers Association and Home Depot come in. They are helping to spruce up Garcia's home.
He was protecting us. So now we want to give back. That's what Home Depot is all about, giving back.
Dubbed the Gabe Garcia Project, volunteers started painting, planting, and fixing items around Garcia's home. While he isn't able to come home just yet, Garcia is working to make that happen with intensive physical therapy.
The ultimate goal is to have him living independently and get back as much of his life that he can.
There is no telling when he'll be able to regain his independence, but he is on his way and looking forward to returning home for good soon.
I feel amazing. There's people still up and first off, pray for me.
Some of the improvements that were made to Garcia's home include handrails, which will make it easier for him to get around once he's able to go back home. Reporting in San Bernardino, Leticia Juarez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Up next, an emotional rescue and reunion.
Dog plucked on the LA River is reunited with firefighters who saved his life in a dramatic helicopter rescue.
And we're still talking about rain in that forecast. Will the showers be around for Oscar Sunday? Details coming up.
I was afraid
Here at home, a happy reunion for Lucky, the dog and the rescue crew that plucked him out of the LA River. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes takes a look at why firefighters are willing to put their lives on the line to save a dog.
It was a dramatic rescue caught on camera. A Los Angeles Fire Department helicopter lowering a firefighter into the rain-swollen LA River to save a dog. That pooch, a 30-pound Labrador mix, since named Lucky. And today,
he's wearing red today in honor of the fire department.
Lucky and his new owner met the team that plucked him from the river during that dangerous mission last month.
We couldn't effect a rescue because of the wires that were there. So we followed him for a good mile and a half, and we kept watching him. And he would actually go underneath the water and back up.
The dog rescue, a success, but one that's raising questions. Some people wondering if it makes sense to put firefighter lives on the line to save a dog.
If we're not the ones that are doing this, then somebody else is. Somebody else is going to hop in that river and try to do that rescue without realizing the impact and the danger they're putting themselves in.
There were people climbing over top of the fence that was lining the wash. We knew that they were going to be going into the water next.
Fire officials say rescues like this also provide real-world training for firefighters. It's training that certainly paid off for Lucky. After airlifting him from the river, firefighters warmed him up and took him to a shelter, where the woman who first called 911 to report him in the river adopted him after no one claimed him.
I did have a pretty strong sense that he was going to be going home with me.
And today, he's also going home with a 6-month supply of dog food. This dog still living up to his name. In Van Nuys, Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And just ahead, Jonathan Novak looks ahead to some possible Oscar Sunday drizzle.
And golfer Eric Compton is striving on the course thanks to a pair of heart transplants. We'll share his amazing story. Plus this.
From paleo to vegan, there's loads of ways to eat out there, but the latest will make most Americans happy. Apparently, cheese, eggs, and beef are back on the menu. I'm Sea Coach Lori Corbin. Ahead, we take a look at some not so forbidden foods.
A unique celestial event will be taking place tomorrow night. It involves the conjunction of our three closest neighbors. If you look to the southwest between sunset and 7 o'clock, you should be able to see a sliver of moon right next to Venus and Mars. It's not the only evening space show coming up. On Sunday evening, the International Space Station will be visible. That's weather permitting, of course.
All right, so weather permitting. No overcast, right? No marine layer, or will there be?
Marine layer all weekend through Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday. So it's actually going to be getting thicker as the weekend goes on. Yeah, in fact, it's going to translate into the potential for a damp Oscars on Sunday. We will get to it in just a moment, but how about this at least? At least I can give you some nice images as a result of the cloud cover and the moisture coming in. This is from early in Running Springs. It's kind of cool to see, and actually it was kind of cool today in many spots. Temperature-wise, we had 80s last week. We had a lot of 70s this week. This weekend, we're down into the 60s, finally kind of where we should be. It's just the timing is kind of bad, that's all. Live Megadopolis, that's all. It's a big deal, actually. Live Megadopolis, 7,000 HD. We're dry right now. Highs today look like this. 76 Burbank, Ventura, 73. Laguna Beach is at 66. Upper 70s in Temecula. And downtown LA was at 72. Burbank right now, let's check you out and see what you got. You got 62. With the moisture around and the morning cloud cover, we're not going to bottom out all that cool. So it'll actually be a mild morning, which you've been seeing that lately, some mild starts. And in the afternoon, we're actually going to be cooler than you were today. And then in the weekend, that pattern's going to continue. So across the board right now, it's very mild with clouds around. We got 62 in Van Nuys, 64 Ontario. Hey, Palm Springs, you're in the 80s today. It's a warm spot. 76 for you right now and 57 up in Santa Barbara. So the atmosphere is looking like this. We've had this weak ridge of high pressure, and it's continuing to weaken. And as it's done that, you've seen those temperatures drop a little. The clouds have been thickening up. And as it's weakened, it's allowing this trough of low pressure to develop. And that's the trough that's going to give us the chance of rain Sunday and Monday. Watch it dig south here. This is Friday. And watch what happens on Saturday and Sunday. It digs in even more. Now, yesterday, the models were keeping this far north enough where I could say safely maybe some drizzle. It looks like now it could be drizzle and maybe light rain a step beyond that on Sunday afternoon. This is 2 p.m. on Sunday. The bulk of the energy still will be to the north, but we have enough of an onshore flow around that area of low pressure. You get the moisture pumping in, you get the clouds thick, and that could translate into some drizzle or light rain. I think the majority of it will be over the foothills. Anything accumulating really would be there, but I can't rule out just a little bit of shower activity for the Oscars. The chance is 30%. It's not terribly significant, but just don't plan on sunshine and, bring the umbrella. If you're watching inside, I wouldn't recommend that, though. Probably wouldn't work out for you. 64 on Sunday, 65 on Monday, and then we're finally back to the sunny stuff next Tuesday on. Valley's IE, if you remember, it almost rained last year. It actually wrapped up right before the Oscars last year. So Mother Nature maybe has got a thing with movies. Valley's IE, Sunday and Monday, looking like it's going to be cool. A chance of rain, best by the foothills for you, Sunday and Monday. Beach, cloudy, like you've been seeing this whole week. It's going to continue on through Sunday and even Monday. A few showers for you, lower 60s into the work week next week. And the mountains are looking like it is going to finally cool down into the 40s. Maybe some snow with this system, but that would be above 7,000 feet because it's coming from the north. It brings the cold air in. And the high desert, breezy and cooler for the weekend as well for you. Dallas has more in the forecast at 11 o'clock.
Okay, Jonathan, thank you.
You're welcome.
We have breaking news tonight. The mayor of the city of Carson, Jim Deere, has just confirmed that both the San Diego Chargers and the Oakland Raiders are working on a plan to build a $1.7 billion football stadium in Carson, which they would share. A formal announcement is expected tomorrow morning. Both teams are still vying for new stadiums in their respective home markets, but they're pursuing the Carson proposal in case they're not able to finalize their respective deals. More, of course, later on Eyewitness News. Eric Compton burst onto the world golf stage with a second-place finish at last year's U.S. Open, but it's how he got there that is a source of inspiration for millions of people around the world. Our colleague Philip Palmer, like Compton, is passionate about golf and organ donation. Here's the story.
Eric Compton is playing in this week's Northern Trust Open at Riviera Country Club, still looking for his first career tour victory, and like most golfers on tour, battling to stay healthy and compete.
I've been real lucky to have, not any major injuries with my body besides having a transplant, but just dealing with the side effects of having.
You do see the humor in what you just said.
Yeah, I do. I mean, but it is what it is.
What it is a heart transplant. 2, in fact. Compton's first heart transplant came in 1992 when he was 12. The next in 2008 after a heart attack at 28. Now 35, you might think his near-death experiences have shaped him. But it's not that simple, because for him, He's never known anything else.
I've said it before, and I'll say now, I live in the now, you know. I got the Masters coming up in April, but who knows if I'm even alive in April. So you got to live the minutes that you're here right now and make the best of the opportunity and be happy for what you have right now.
Along with his preparation to play this week, I joined Compton to shoot a public service announcement for Donate Life. He was also at Cedars-Sinai for the dedication of the Bell of Life at their transplant center. He knows when he plays golf, he's an example of what's possible for the many people waiting on a transplant. People who don't watch golf watch him. But he doesn't see that as pressure. He sees it as support.
That's the miracle of what transplantation is, to be normal, to be able to reach your dreams and to be able to be a family, a father or a wife, or just be a normal person. That's what it's about.
Philip Palmer, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Eric Compton fired an even par 72 in the first round of the Northern Trust Open. He is 5 shots off the lead.
With the government altering guidelines for cholesterol consumption, more and more health experts are taking a fresh look at saturated fat foods that have been on that don't eat list for decades. Food coach Lori Corbin looks at the reintroduction of some of our favorite yet forbidden foods.
Good news, America. Beef, eggs, butter, and tropical oils all back on the menu with a thumbs up from many experts.
But what we haven't done until recently is realize that saturated fat got blamed for a lot of things that it doesn't really cause.
The low-fat revolution demonized saturated fat, but cutting it out was in most part a bust.
The low-fat movement really is a colossal failure. Every single study that's looked at it over a long time, people don't lose weight and keep it off. Their triglycerides are higher. I mean, there's really no health benefit to a low-fat diet at all. People who eat full-fat dairy have less rates of diabetes, and a number of metabolic markers improve.
Now, here's the most important thing to remember. The studies on these foods were done on grass-fed and organic foods. So you have to make sure you get those. Very important. Here's why.
Remember, what really makes fat bad is it stores toxins. So if you're eating feedlot farmed meat, that's got antibiotics, it's got steroids, it's got bovine growth hormone, it's got all kinds of pesticides from the non-organic grain that they're fed.
But dietitian Cynthia Sass isn't convinced.
I think not all saturated fats are created equal.
She's a fan of coconut and palm oils, even dark chocolate, for these reasons.
They've been shown to up the good cholesterol, lower the bad cholesterol, reduce inflammation.
And they contain antioxidants. But she's not on board for animal fats like full-fat cheese.
When you look at something like cheese, in many cases it can have more fat than protein. So I think if you're going to include those foods, do it in moderation and make sure you have plenty of plant-based foods to help balance them out.
Both experts agree high-fat food is small-dose food. Calories still count. And you will pay more for grass-fed and organics. So Bowden suggests this.
If it's too expensive, eat less, but eat the good stuff.
Lori Corbin, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
More news straight ahead here at 7:30 and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. A Valentine's Day mystery in Orange County. A woman disappears without a trace. The search for answers and the missing woman. And we'll have more on the San Diego Chargers and the Oakland Raiders' plan to build a billion-dollar football stadium in Carson. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
You have to take in your posture and
It's a party in Hong Kong to celebrate the Year of the Sheep. The big parade included floats, cheerleaders, and international performers. The tourist board invited cheerleaders from the Denver Broncos to represent the United States in the parade. The Lunar New Year celebration was themed Sweet 20 World Party.
This is disturbing. A Texas woman is not only a professional sword swallower, she's still at it even though she's 9 months pregnant. She uses a real 14-inch steel blade, dull of course, and it really does go down into her stomach. And it took 2.5 years to learn how to do it safely. Pregnancy created new challenges because her insides have shifted, but another pregnant sword swallower gave her some advice. There's 2 of them, including a shorter blade.
You have to take in your posture into consideration, the difference in weight from my belly. It doesn't interfere with the baby, and if I take the precautions for myself, everything will be fine.
Veronica also does fire eating, but she's put that off until her child is born.
Yeah,
I can't watch that without, I don't know, makes me nervous.
Yeah, well, she's using a shorter blade now, so that's the best part of it. We thank you for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is next.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7. See what that sword swallower did to me?
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Wow.